The following transmission is between myself and Elianora, one of the most well-known and celebrated modders in both the Elder Scrolls and Fallout community, having made incredibly high-quality home and clothing mods for both Skyrim and Fallout 4. Having been modding for well over a decade at this point, Elianora has created some of the most well-known and celebrated mods ever to come out of the Nexus mod website, including Eli's Armor Compendium, Breeze Home, and Faction Housing Overhaul. During our conversation, we talk about a wide variety of topics, such as Elianora's extensive modding history, mod censorship and thematics, as well as the work she has done for both Bethesda's Creation Club, as well as her most recent work for Starfield. This is the Atomcast, and the best way you can show your support is by subscribing to our Patreon, as your monthly contributions will go towards improving the quality of transmission, as well as helping to decrease the time between uploads. As always, links to our Patreon, as well as guest socials, will be linked in the description below. Without further ado, modding superstar, Elianora. All right, so you have done a lot of mod work over the years. We actually just talked about this like right before we started the interview. You've done a lot of mod work over the years. You've done Skyrim, you've done Fallout. Now that Starfield is out, I believe you've put out a couple of things for Starfield. Out of like all of them, I guess more so like Fallout and Skyrim, because like those are the games that you've modded for the most, as far as I've seen anyway. Out of all of that work though, what are you most, well, how do you feel as if you represent yourself? Like you are Elianora the blank modder. Is it Skyrim? Is it Fallout? Or rather Fallout 4? And why is that how you choose to present yourself when in actuality you are Elianora the Fallout 3 modder?
Yeah. I've made tons of Fallout 3 mods, for sure. I like to say I'm a Bethesda modder, especially now with Starfield out. I've done mods for 4 of their games, and once the official Starfield modding tools hit, or we get the X-Edit tool, and I can actually make ESPs, or I will probably be making Starfield stuff as well. So, a Bethesda modder.
Do you think that, or rather not do you think, but rather, was there, I don't know, it's just like floating around in my brain. I saw this Polygon article talking about you and how like, oh, like Bethesda modder comes in and gets hired to do like stuff for Starfield. But like I don't even know if I have the article anymore. It was like a Polygon article, and it was like it was like inventor of the Skyrim cheese house gets hired to do work for Starfield or something like that. So like what is the cheese house? Because like that article was literally the first time I've ever heard of that, and I've seen a whole bunch of your Skyrim mods, and like I've downloaded a whole bunch of your Fallout mods. Like what's the cheese house? What's the story with that?
So if you played Morrowind and not Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim, there is a character called Sheogorath who likes cheese for everyone. And I have made a lot of houses, but I haven't made a house out of cheese. So I made a house for Sheogorath. It's a kind of small house though, and it's made of cheese. And it was released as an April Fool's joke. I like making April Fool's mods. I have a house armor, which is a armor for Fallout 4 made entirely out of house bits. Like there's a roof, there's a TV in your back, there's a house plant, coffee mug, that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to make one for Skyrim as well.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Not horse armor, it's cheese house.
Cheese house armor or cheese house?
And it is cheese house. It's a tiny little house made of cheese wheels, and I changed some of the textures to be like yellow.
that's got to be the next natural evolution. You go from cheese house to house armor to cheese house armor in Starfield.
Oh, now I have to do it. There is cheese. There's
Right.
cheese in
There
Starfield,
is.
so maybe we can wiggle that in.
There's very well textured cheese too.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
need to. But it's all packaged. You can't see it in all its glory. So
Oh yeah, that's
maybe
right.
maybe we need a cheese mod for Starfield where we have cheesy meals. There's grilled cheese.
Yeah,
So
yeah, there is grilled cheese armor house armor. What one of the
there
two?
we go.
Yeah.
Coming April 1st, 2024.
Hell yeah.
You heard it
Right.
here first.
Yeah. Be on the lookout for whatever it was I just said because it's coming. On that though, like, so I mean, I do a little introduction at the beginning of these videos, like before the actual interview, introducing like who you are, the kind of mods you do, stuff like that, or the kind of work that you do in our little Bethesda sphere. But
Yeah.
why don't we hear it, directly from the source? What is sort of like your like the overarching story of your your modding history? Like, where did you start? Where did things pick up? And like, where are you now?
So I pre-ordered Skyrim 2011, and I went in not knowing what the game was about. Fell in love. I started using mods a couple of months after the game was out. Maybe it was sooner. I registered in Nexus Mods in November 2011, and it has all been downhill from there. I downloaded someone else's mod, and I was like, it doesn't have enough mannequins. I want to add more. So I tried to add more, but I was like, why am I editing someone else's house? I have the tools now. I have the power, unlimited power, and I made my own. I wasn't happy with it, so I tried again and again, and 150 houses later, people knew who I was.
Yeah. What was the so like you said it was just like a house that you just added more mannequins to?
Yeah, it was called the Creeks. It was like a white run architecture, little cottage in a beautiful location. It's an incredible location, but it just didn't have enough clutter.
And that
But that's
that
how I started.
yeah, with just the was it just the mannequins or did you just cuz like you're probably more so known. I mean, I guess it would kind of be debatable whether you're more so known for your clutter work, because you add a lot of like housing mods, and just like mods in general that just like add a lot more clutter and like a more lived in feel to different
Yeah,
locations. But you're also tremendously well known for your clothing, crafting, and
yeah.
and such. So like it when you started with that mod, was it literally just that like there just wasn't enough stuff inside the house and you felt like you needed more clutter?
It kind of was like I was like, this looks beautiful, but it could be nicer. I didn't go in planning to start making houses. It just sort of pulled me into it. I enjoyed doing that so much, and it's extremely important for me in video games to live in a nice place and to have a place to store all my loot. And it it actually is like the most important thing for me in games. So I just want to do it myself, and if I have the tools and the opportunity, I want to arrange things in a way that it helps my gameplay. But
Starfield,
sometimes it gets too inspiring, and I do things that I wouldn't even use myself.
yeah, like you just put stuff in for the sake of it, like being there.
Yeah, I mean, I see something in real life, and I'm like, that looks like a cool house, or that looks like a cool armor. Sometimes I start a playthrough, and I'm like, okay, this character needs its own style house, so I just make that because I know what the character's gonna do, and I know what the needs are gonna be. I get bored with houses really quickly, like so quickly.
It's like doubly so in Bethesda because even though in like vanilla Bethesda games there are certain like houses and locations that like they like they're very well made, but at times, especially like the older games, because like Starfield and like a little bit Fallout 4 don't really have that issue. But in like older games, like you play Fallout New Vegas, well, kind of like I don't know, I'm gonna add Fallout New Vegas because like
Yeah.
Obsidian made it, but you know Bethesda contracted them and stuff like that. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Skyrim, like their locations and their architecture and stuff like that are very well made, and their interiors are very
Mm-hmm.
well made, but they always seem to be like a little bit empty, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, but like
Especially Starfield. I'm like, no, it's not pre-built.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like when you put down, when you're like building an outpost and then you just have all those like empty rooms in there. And it's all like, no,
Mm.
there's not enough
Yeah,
things.
I still haven't decided whether I want to live in my spaceship or if I want a home somewhere.
The
I'm
spaceships are pretty
partial to
nice.
Aquila City.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are.
Aquila City's pretty nice. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm able to actually like buy a house yet.
Mm.
But I've been like dabbling a little bit with like the outpost system and like building like some things. And it's really weird because sort of like the I don't know, maybe it's just like either the aesthetic of Starfield or just like the feeling of being on like an empty planet. But like it's a very different feeling having like a minimalist space room in Starfield. You know, like you
Mm.
put down the prefab room and then you put in like, you know, a chair, there's a bed over there, there's a workbench off to the side, and then like another room like that's where you're eventually this is more so my experience like I got a
Mm.
like the glass prefab room, and it's like this is where like all the like plants and stuff are going to go when I have like enough fiber and stuff to actually make plants.
Yeah.
But like there's just something about, to me anyway, there's something about the empty aesthetic of that, like kind of like liminal space in a sense, you
Yeah.
know. It's like stuff is supposed to be here, it's not, but then like you kind of zoom out a little bit and it's like you're on a barren planet and it's like the same
Mhm.
thing still applies, like stuff is supposed to be here but it's not, and then you get that weird feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any outposts yet because I've been just buying and picking up ingredients and like what are they called? Resources.
Hmm.
So I can see that being a big thing for some people.
Hmm.
People who loved building in Fallout 4, for example, and it's gonna blow up once mods come out for it. Me personally, I don't think I've done outpost stuff very much outside vanilla playthroughs. I don't do that much in Fallout at all.
And
It,
you mean in
I don't
Starfield?
either.
Oh,
Like
okay,
Fallout
gotcha.
4, I
Gotcha.
don't use the settlement system that much. I have the
Really?
settlement. I put down the basic needs, but I don't actually use that all that much. I tried playing sim settlements and I just didn't care about the settlements.
Hmm.
It's weird. But at the same time I have to have a really perfect house and I just love questing and I don't I haven't gone into it. But I can see that being a huge thing for people who are into that. People build the most amazing things. I don't know where they find the patience for it. But I just want to quest and collect things and sell things and have a beautiful home, which I didn't need to build in the game editor.
That's really interesting. That's your take on that when it comes to like the settlement building stuff, because it kind of, to me anyway, it kind of seems like you adding like all that detail and clutter to like houses and stuff like that. It's kind of like a micro version of
Hmm.
like settlement building. Because especially with like sim settlements, it's, you know, it's just much easier to build a settlement because it's like, okay, plop down a thing here, plop down a thing there. They're gonna build those, and then like it's kind of gonna go off from there. Unless you do what I do and you're like lazy and uncreative and you just pick somebody else's like pre-built plan and just have it build that. Which, to
I
your
should do
point,
that.
yeah, like it makes it so much easier. And like as you said, some of like the blueprints and stuff are just like crazy good looking. Like they're
People are
phenomenal.
insane,
Yeah,
right?
there's
People are so good at building.
there's a guy in my Discord server. He's, oh gosh, let me find him real quick. His name, I always get him for some reason. My brain just like gets him confused with somebody. There he is. Oh, and of course the hold on. Oh wait, no, there it is. Nope, that's also not it.
Mhm.
Oh god damn it. I don't know what it is, but like recently, whenever I do, I'll just do this. Hold on. There it is. Karvoc.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff on the Nexus as well, but he's built a whole bunch of different settlement stuff, and he's like
Yeah.
won a couple of the like seasonal things, and they're always like really really good looking. And I don't know how he has he showed me like once in a in like a private stream how he like puts everything together, and like how he
Yeah.
moves like the little tiny pieces of like wall and different items around and stuff like that, like moves it a very small amount so that he can actually like get specific things in where he wants it. And I
Yeah.
just don't have any idea how he has like the time or the creative mindset to like do stuff like that.
But did he do that in the game editor or in Creation Kit?
He did it in I believe he did it in the game editor.
What? See, that's
Yeah.
my problem. I've been thinking about this, why I don't care about building in
Mm-hmm.
these games, because clearly it's something that people are absolutely crazy about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the creation kit, it's the modding tools. They are
Right.
so much more versatile. You have so much more freedom. You don't have to use janky controls in games. Um, you can place it exactly where you want it. It's not going to be like, oh, I don't know how to put this thing on a shelf
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know where the collision is. Have you tried putting stuff on shelves in Skyrim, Fallout, or Starfield? Like
It's
manually. You
it
pick it
yeah,
up and you try to slide it in. It's it's impossible. And in
yeah.
Starfield, it lets you pick up like miscellaneous objects. But when you try to place it on a shelf, it's like, okay, I don't know if I should put this to the top shelf or the bottom shelf, or am I just gonna leave it floating in the middle of the shelf? I don't know what to do. I can't stand that. It's so cumbersome. It's infuriating.
I don't know if it
And
was like in like a playthrough or in like a stream or something, but like I'm you know like where your room is in the Constellation Lodge, right?
yeah,
It's like there's like the bar, and then you go down that long hallway.
yeah,
In that hallway, there's a shelf that has like a couple things on it. One of them is like a cow skull or something, and I like
yeah.
knocked that over, and I'm like, oh no, I knocked it over, so I gotta like put it back on the shelf and stuff, and I'm like messing with it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, how to like pick it up and like what? Why don't you
Yeah.
go back on what? Come on!
Mm. I
It
did the
was,
same thing. There was a basket and there was like an alien skull, and I couldn't get them back on the shelf.
mhm,
And it's the same thing when you're trying to make your house in the game, and I feel like it's a little bit worse in Starfield
mhm,
actually when you're trying to manually place outside the build mode. When you're in a settlement, the outpost build mode, you can pick up items and you can place them on surfaces pretty well,
mhm.
shelves notwithstanding. But then you load back in after a few weeks of adventuring in space, and they are all sunken into the fucking surfaces. Like, what the fuck?
Weird.
It's
Oh,
so annoying. So I don't want to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I don't. They get locked in place, but then they're locked in the middle of the shelf.
Yeah.
No. So that's why I don't like building in games, because the creation kit gives me so much freedom. I can rotate things, I can scale them. Oh, I want to make this succulent and this succulent different size
Hmm.
so that they look nicer next to each other. I can
Right.
do that. And I can't do that in game. If I can do that in game, for example, in Fallout, where there's build mode mods that let you manipulate items better and there's place everywhere,
Hmm.
which I'm gonna need for Starfield as soon as possible. Um, so uh, I can't do that in the game, and it's just infuriating. Creation Kit ruined gaming for me.
Right. You went from I can't think of like a good example from like my personal perspective, but it's that thing. You go from like you got spoiled on like the better thing, so you can't like
Right.
downgrade, you know. It's kind of like going from cuz we had a little bit of an interaction over Twitter when you put out your Fallout 3 mod, where you were talking about where you made like you basically just like made a slightly better room for your house in Megaton, and I asked you
Yeah.
like, hey, is it easier modding for Fallout 3 than it is for Fallout 4, because in my mind, my plebeian, I barely know how video games work brain, I'm like, okay, so there's less like stuff you have to worry about in Fallout 3. You don't have to worry about like advanced lighting. The physics probably aren't as like up to snuff. Maybe, I don't know. But like my brain was thinking like, oh, it's an older game, so it must be a little easier to to like work and stuff. And so I asked you that, and you're like, oh God, no, it's awful. Like it's like that. You go from like you worked on like the better stuff with 4, and then you tried to do something for 3, and it's like this is just so much worse.
It's like a dumber big brother of Fallout 4 editor. It's more bare bones. Oh, sorry. My partner just went into voice chat with his game friends. I'm wondering if this thing is going to filter it out.
I could hear him a little bit.
It's probably a problem when we speak at the same time. He shouldn't come through when I'm not talking and he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Fallout 3 is it doesn't have advanced lighting, which infuriates me. I didn't know how things worked in there. It's basically the same program, but I couldn't find things that I'm used to finding, features and stuff like that. So it was a little bit different.
Interesting.
And it's very unstable. It's so unstable. Like it keeps crashing. You just move an object, and it's like, well, I guess I'll die, and then shut myself down.
It just blue screens the whole thing.
It's so weird. You just literally move the book, and it crashes.
That's
because
weird.
it through a weird exception or whatever. And even with like the community has make like these utility add-ons for it that make it more stable, but still it's not. It's usable, but it's not fun.
Well, it wouldn't be a Bethesda game if there wasn't a little bit of jank. So let's take a step back a little bit. Obviously, you got you sort of like got into like bigger in the modding sphere because you were doing like all your clutter work and your housework and stuff like that. Where did that sort of translate? Because one of the other, because like you're tremendously well known for your like housing and cluttering and stuff like that. Where did like the clothing stuff come in? Because you are also incredibly well known for making like a lot of very detailed, very high quality like outfit and clothing mods. In my personal experience, primarily for Fallout 4, maybe you have some like really good stuff for like Skyrim. I just don't know about it. But in either case, like how did you go from like doing house stuff and clutter stuff to clothing stuff, and not just clothing stuff, but like really good clothing stuff? What was the transition there?
I had Ausnews who programs Outfit Studio and Body Slide, and he's responsible for CBBE now with Caliente. And he was on my server in Discord, and he started doing stuff for. I was watching him like decode Fallout 4 when he came out, and the Outfit Studio is just so much fun. It's so easy. You can just like mash up vanilla things, and while I like the vanilla things, I think there's so much potential in them. So I started mashing them up, and in Fallout 4, it's so important for me to look good. Sorry, I didn't think he would come and talk behind me. So it's my mind is blanking when I'm like here, and I'm like, oh my god, now I can hear him behind me, and now he's gonna be on the recording, and so it's like
I actually couldn't hear him at all.
Okay, good, because he starts talking. I'm like, okay, now he's talking over me, and he's gonna go to the recording. So what do I say now? So for Fallout 4, it's so easy to make them with the community tools. I don't need to know 3D modeling. I don't want to know 3D modeling. It flies right over my head. So with Outfit Studio and Nipscope, I was just able to do so many things, and it's not as fun for Skyrim because Skyrim is so the meshes are like so low resolution. They're lumpy, and there's not much to cut off like there is in Fallout 4. Plus, there isn't as many things in Skyrim either. I think there's more freedom for Fallout 4 because like there's so many different styles you can do. In Skyrim, it's just warrior armors and robes. For Fallout, you can do spacesuits and you can do all these buckles, and you can attach all these things hanging from them, and you got all these belts and different armor pieces, and there's just so much more stuff in Fallout 4 that can be merged into believable armors in the game.
And you can apparently make very warm looking and very cozy looking plaid. I asked my community like, hey, what should I ask Elianora? And one of them was like, how does she make plaid look so damn comfortable? and
so I got into editing textures. So that's an easy way to make new looking stuff. I promised people that I would update Armor Compendium in September. We have 1 day left, about 5.5 hours of September left, but I didn't think Starfield would pull me away as much as it did.
Yeah.
So that was. I'm still going to update it like within a few days.
Oh no!
Jump in. And I need to fix some armors. I did a lot of work on it on stream, and then I lost the updated files because Vortex was like, "Oh, what's the word?
You don't need this anymore."
It's you. Vortex was like, "Oh, you downloaded Armor Compendium from Nexus. Let me just refresh that for you."
Oh, I see.
You remade your load order, and you added new mods. So I'm gonna. I can't. What are words? I forgot what it is that you do with Vortex.
Like the way it actually like overlays the files or something.
Yeah, hold on. I'm opening Vortex so I can check because this is bothering me like beyond reason. Deploy, that's the word.
Oh, yes, okay.
The load order. So we overrode all of the armors that I had fixed. I had fixed so many meshes. Like the mod has 50 armors, and that's a lot because you have to have a female and male variant of the body type and everything like that. So it was just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
To update, and it's not fun. I like creating new things. I don't want to sit here and fix old armors from 7 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
you're on like a time crunch for that because you said you got to get it out by September. Just go by U.S. time. It's almost 10 a.m. in on the West Coast right now. Just like if it if you churn it out a little bit into October your time, just default to U.S. time. Then just no, you guys were wrong. U.S. time.
There's no way. There's no way. I have like 3 or 4 days of full 12 hours of work to do on it to fix all my mistakes and add all the new stuff in, and so it's a nightmare, but I will get it done because I really want to get it done. People deserve it. I have learned so many new things, and it just needs to be out there. The mod is too popular to stay as bad as it is.
Yeah. Well, make some like real quick like Halloween stuff, like throw in a ghost costume or a skeleton costume, and then just like release it like a little bit closer to the end of October and call it the Halloween update, and then just throw in a whole bunch of stuff like that.
That's not actually a bad idea. I should do that.
That's I'm thinking with portals now.
Add even more stuff in.
There you go. Yeah, I mean it's the obvious really cool answer, armors. Huh?
Yeah. I have some really cool new armors that are like better quality than my previous stuff, so I'm really excited to get the update out. It's not just fixed old armors; it's also new stuff in there.
There you go. Do you wanna tease the audience a little bit here in this interview with like some of the new stuff you got coming out?
So there's a bunch of Brotherhood of Steel like scribe things. I use some of the BOS stuff, and then there's some like hazmat suits, some new vault suit meshes like. Where you have the general's jacket and the vault suit under it, and then there's like a hazmat suit that has a like a wastelander robe over it. Lots of neat looking wastelandy stuff.
Nice.
Once more.
Hell yeah. Everybody's going to be super stoked for that because you're out. It just like outfit stuff in general. Everybody's super stoked for. On that, one of the things. Let me see here. Where is it? There it is. One of the things that I wanted to ask you specifically about is you. I mean, you very, very likely remembered this. Well, obviously you remember it. You made it. But your Black Lives Matter mod, the one you did for Fallout 4, I can't remember when that was. 2021, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, something around that time. Obviously 2021 specifically was a very, very strange year. But I remember that mod specifically. Obviously, you put out the mod. It's great. Your outfit and texture and like cloth related stuff, just like flags too and stuff. Always tremendously well done. That I don't know if it was just like the buzz of like the media hive and stuff like that, but obviously there was a lot of positive articles put out about it. But I remember seeing in like almost real time like the counter response to that, because I think you put out that mod and then like almost immediately somebody put out like an All Lives Matter one, which if I remember correctly got taken down like real quickly. But then somebody also made like a Ghoul Lives Matter mod, which I think was also up, and I kind of liked because that was kind of funny. It was like the in-universe version of it. What was like your perspective from that whole, obviously you're the one who's in like the middle of all of it, but like what was all smacking my microphone? What was your perspective during like just all that?
So I checked. It's 2020. I was
Okay.
like, it has to be because the pandemic started 2019, and that was like after that. Anyway,
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it started like it was like during the start of the pandemic or like a year later, but either way, yeah, like what was your perspective from the middle of that?
so I understand the people's frustrations of not being able to post what they want, but I thought it was like it's so much wasted energy to do that and to try to troll me or try to troll Nexus. If you are you when you're uploading a mod, is the mod trying to make the world a better place, or is the mod trying to instigate hate, or is the mod trying to diminish someone's human value, or is the mod trying to troll someone? People are like, oh, Nexus only panders to woke agenda and whatever, but the thing with woke mods is that they are trying to improve the situation or raise awareness for some situation that needs fixing, whereas these counter mods are trying to start a fight or they are trying to troll, and that's why they get taken down, because they are hostile, not because all lives don't matter or something. I don't know. I find it extremely weird. Like if you're going to upload a mod that creates hate or divisiveness, then don't be surprised that it gets taken down.
Where do you think
you should be modding? You should be making mods to make people's lives better, not to spread any kind of hate or instigate or troll. I just don't understand.
Do you think that because you've also put out you put out like a number of like diversity, like pro diversity mods and stuff like that. I can't remember which one. What was the one you put out that had like the shark and like the nuke, like the actual nuke that was like rainbow or whatever? Like what was that one called again?
That's the Pride 2023 mod.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
But the last and this year has been extremely difficult for trans people, and there's been an unprecedented. That's the word.
Yeah.
Hey, towards
For reference, sorry, hold on. For I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to preface it like
yeah.
I'm not correcting you. You just English isn't your second language, so I'm helping you along.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I'm not trying to like talk over her or anything or insinuate anything. Like English isn't her first
I
language.
literally
I'm
asked.
helping it. Yeah, yeah. But yes, unprecedented. Yes.
Yeah. So there's been so much hate going on, and especially targeting trans and non-binary people. And so I wanted to emphasize that on this year's Pride mod, and it has the no hate atom bomb statue. It's like it's a deactivated atom bomb that is painted in the Pride colors, and you can display it in your settlements. And the shark, it has in recent years, the blowhigh has become like a little mascot for trans people. So that's the mod.
Yeah. Did I can't remember if I made the comment or something, but like, are you gonna? Is there gonna be like a mod where you can just like use the shark as like a baseball bat and just beat people in the wasteland with the little shark stuffed animal? Or is that like already in the mod and I'm just because oh no, it's like it's a settlement item in the mod that you put out. Like you can put it down
Yeah.
like next to a bed or something.
Yeah, I could make it. I had plans of making them into melee weapons, like replace baseball bats or something. But one thing is, I didn't want to put anything violent in the mod. I
That's
wanted
fair.
to be a positive representation thing, and then I also just lost my interest in working on that mod because it was an activism mode. It wasn't a mode that I really wanted for my gameplay thing. It was more of a representation thing, and I wanted it for those people for whom it would mean more than me.
That's
So
fair.
I sort of lost my drive with it. It was a funny joke, but the shark, but it ran its course. So
Yeah, that's
those
fair.
are the two reasons why I didn't update it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just really like it's like anything really. Like it'd be the shark, it'd be like a teddy bear, just anything that's like, cute looking and you're just going around the wasteland just beating people to death with it. I just think that's a really funny juxtaposition as it relates to anything. Um
Yeah,
on
you
that
can use it in the junk jet. You can
oh
make
my
many
god.
blowheads. You can shoot them out of the junk jet.
I didn't even think of that. That's even more hilarious.
I have a short on my YouTube where you can shout out to my YouTube where you can see me shooting sharks with that.
Oh my
It's
god!
pretty fun.
I'll probably have like an overlay video over this part of the interview showing like that exact video of you shooting little sharks at people.
Nice,
The
nice.
junk jet.
Junk jet shoots sharks.
Oh, that's hilarious! I love that so much. But to that, both those points are kind of like that build, like a build up here. I put out a video recently talking about the Nexus banning like that mod that got rid of the pronoun option in Starfield.
Yeah.
That video blew up a lot more than I thought it would. The last couple of videos I put out, I've gotten like 400 or 500 views, something like that. That one got like 3,500 views, which isn't anything like brand new for my channel. I've had videos just go absolutely crazy, but it was interesting because obviously there was a lot of people who were not making the most good faith arguments, but then there were people who had more of a concern with just like more so like the censorship from Nexus, because obviously like it's their platform, they can do what they want, but then there's like, oh, people are saying like, oh, there's like some of them were making bad faith, like, oh, it's a there's like hypocrisy and stuff because they allow like like mods with unrealistically proportioned women in it, or like mods that like for some reason the mod in Fallout 4 that lets you like control alt delete children was something that kept being brought up as an argument, which to me was really weird. But the it was interesting because there were some people that seemed to be making a good faith argument as to like the maybe not legitimacy, but like where that balance is between obviously like representation and stuff, and freedom when it comes to being able to sort of like the libertarian understanding of like you can do whatever you want and whatever's popular is what's going to get big, right? A lot of people were saying like, hey, if this mod, doesn't do very well, it's just going to get buried in the sea of mods, right? If it does well, hey, that says more about the community than it does, the platform or the or the game itself or whatever. Where do you sort of see that balance between diversity and representation and like censorship? Like where in the middle there do we find common ground with those two points, and what does that look like? If that's not too big of a fucking question.
It's really hard to draw the line, but at the same time, is the children mod targeting specific children, or is it just all the children? And it's not just what the mod does in the game, it's how it shows to the people who are marginalized and I'm good at this English. How does it work? It's like, is the mod being up causing some people to feel like they are being erased? Are children gonna feel like they're being erased because the mod enables them to talk, to be shot? Or so I think that's where I draw the line, because if someone sees the mod and is like, oh my god, this site is hosting a mod that swaps out all black people, all black characters are changed into white characters. And that's crazy. To me, that's crazy. I don't know how people who think that kind of mod is good think. I can't get into their brain space. So I think it's not so much about, oh, you should have the freedom to do whatever you have in the game. It's Nexus's responsibility to not keep those kind of mods up, that people come up and they see it and they think, okay, well, I guess it's fine to be anti-diversity.
To be like discriminatory in certain practices.
Okay, now I have a cat standing next to me yelling at me like, ah. Hi, Mayhem.
Kids.
Cats have cats on the stage.
I know, right? So stuck up and full of themselves, thinking they're so great. What do you think? You're so great just because you're cute? Nah.
Exactly. Now we have a cat here. So anyway, that's like, it's not just about what you can do with your game. Like, I understand that pride flags annoy you in your game. I kind of feel like you should be able to have the freedom to remove them, but I don't think anyone should be obligated to host that shit.
Yeah.
Mayhem, stop. It's a very serious subject. You can't eat paper while I'm talking. She came here and tried to chew my planner. Anyway, I don't think anyone is. If you want to host that shit, go somewhere where people host discriminatory shit. You don't have to start a culture war over it. It's pretty simple in my mind. But again, this is just my mind.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to a website and see a mod that removes all women soldiers, because clearly women can't be soldiers.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It's not a queer, or it's not just queer people, it's not just black people, it's not just women, it's not just children. Is a little bit different. If there was a mod that made it so that you can't shoot men but you can shoot women,
that'd be a little weird.
It would be weird.
Yeah.
So so that's how I see it. Like, I don't want to go on the website and think, okay, well, women can't be soldiers. It's degrading.
One of
But at the
the
same time, I also kind of find all those like atomic beauty and weird, like sexualized mods. I also
Mhm.
kind of find those weird, but
it's
it's
it's it's
not.
for kind of like a different reason, right? Because
Yeah,
me personally, and maybe part of the reason the maybe part of the reason the video I uploaded got a bit more negative energy towards it than I think it probably ought to have, was because I didn't explain my thought process very clearly. But me,
yeah,
because like I'm on the same page as you about like removing like LGBTQ flags, or like flags in general. At that point, it's like, if you want to like change like, you know, a flag texture or something to where it's like, oh, it's like a pride flag, and you just want to change it to like an American flag, like that Spider-Man mod, right?
yeah,
It's like, I think you should be able to do that. It's a flag. I don't really see the biggest problem, unless you're like changing it to like, you know, that German flag.
mm,
Because I, yeah, no, that's a whole different situation.
yeah,
But me personally, I see it like, if it's removing something, like if it's removing choice from the game, I think that more so is a problem, just because, especially in like an RPG game, I don't think that a mod should be removing choice from a role playing game, because that's kind of the whole
yeah.
point of a role playing game, is choice. That's why the pronoun mod specifically, to me, is so fucking stupid. Um,
Right? Just don't use they them if it annoys you. Just
right?
you choose the body type and it gives you choose the male body figure
Yeah,
and it gives you the male pronoun.
yeah,
That's it.
and
It's not rocket science.
yeah, like obviously, you know, like if you want to mod your own personal game like that, like, yeah, sure, whatever, go ahead. But then like it seems a little self-entitled to all of a sudden think like, oh, people are making fun of me for this because I want to do this way. That's kind of fucked up. And like, no, it's like, you're doing fucked up shit. Like, people are going to call you out for doing fucked up shit, you know? You can do
Oh,
whatever you want. Whatever
right,
you want. You just got to be able to accept the consequences of what
right.
you do. Like, I can't tell you how many
Exactly.
times, like, just working in general, I'm just gonna walk out of here and not come back. If I could
Yeah,
do that, I could do that legally. But then I'm not
yeah,
gonna have a job and any money, and
mm,
the
yeah,
relationships I built, like, that's all of a sudden gonna go away and stuff like that. So like, there's consequences for decisions, and if you can live
right.
with those consequences, that's fine. If you can't handle them,
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are free to say whatever you like, almost
Yeah,
within the law,
yeah,
but we are also free to tell you how fucking stupid you are for saying that.
exactly.
It works
Um,
both ways. No one, well, if it is not the consequences of my own actions.
right.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah,
I don't think the world's biggest modding website who embraces diversity should be obligated to host hateful shit.
yeah,
That's my opinion. If your mod is there to erase a group of marginalized, abused, discriminated people,
mhm,
you don't upload it. It's not adding anything to your game.
yeah,
It's if your mod is there to instigate, if your mod is there to like maliciously troll
mhm,
someone or target someone, I don't care if it's a trans person or a YouTuber. I don't think anyone should upload a mod that makes fun of a YouTuber either.
yeah,
It's not necessarily a diversity problem either.
yeah,
It's more of a don't post hateful shit. It's that simple.
yeah. Um,
Oh,
I
I got my part of that. I have received some like weird comments on YouTube, and they don't even I don't even react to them. I'm just like hiding and moving on. It's not worth
yeah,
any of that.
yeah.
Like people are like calling I work for Nexus and I'm like the face of woke mods apparently.
Apparently,
So
yeah. It's because you put
it's
out
like
more than one of them, so obviously.
mm,
Plus, you're a
Yeah.
woman, so that kind of like just
Oh, they love it or hate it. Yeah.
yeah. I do think that
Outspoken woman who doesn't take shit from little shits, I guess.
right. I do think that there is. I do think that there is an argument towards like violence against children mods or
Mm.
like mods that like portray women in a negative or unrealistic way. I think that there is an argument towards that. But as far as I've seen, that's not an argument that comes up unless it's being talked about something else.
Yeah.
Because it's just not a conversation people seem to be willing to find a solution to. They just want to
Yeah.
bring it up for as like a straw man argument against other things.
It's because it's the only argument they can put out
Mm-hmm,
for their
mm-hmm.
supposed case.
Yeah,
It's no the children mods and the sex mods weren't a problem for anyone until they were started to be used as a defensive weapon against diversity mods
yeah,
or anti-diversity mods.
yeah. And it's just it's real weird the way some people's brains work.
The mental juggle they do, I don't understand.
Right. On that though, speaking of how brains work, obviously you've been a modder for a very long time. You've created a whole bunch of mods yourself. You've seen a whole bunch of different mods. You've been involved in different modding projects. You've worked with gosh, what was it? It's probably overlaid right now, but that mod you worked on with the Sim Settlements 2 team, with that Mr. Handy
Trunks
Trunks,
malfunction.
that's what it
Yeah,
was.
trunks malfunction.
I knew it was Trunks something. I couldn't remember the other one, but yeah. So like that mod specifically, you worked with other big projects before. What's like your just in your entire time being a modder and being involved in other mod projects and modding the game yourself, what have you found to be like your favorite mod? Like what's the one you keep coming back to as like this is a linchpin of Fallout 4, Skyrim, whatever that game is like? What's your number one mod?
Oh my goodness, like something made by other people?
Yeah, like your favorite mod. I mean, it could be your mod. It'd be, but like in general, like of all the mods that you've interacted with, what's your favorite one?
Interesting NPCs probably for Skyrim.
Hmm.
I can't play the game without that one. There's like this list is like 20 different mods. There's just way too many mods to choose one really big one.
Yeah.
Interesting NPCs for Skyrim and for Fallout by the same creator, Chris Takahashi, the Tales from the Commonwealth. A similar kind of mod. It adds a lot of NPCs you can talk to. They can be companions and so on.
Tell us the because they're all made by the same person, right?
Yeah.
So what's like the big common trait between all of them that you find to be the most appealing or the most engaging, or like what makes that mod, quote unquote, because it's all like the same basic thing. It sounds like what makes it your favorite?
I like witty, humorous characters, and those mods are just chock full of them. I play these games mostly for the characters, their backgrounds, the conversations I have them. Those are a really big thing, the driving force for me in these games. Be it Baldur's Gate 3, which I just discovered, or Dragon Age. It's the NPCs that I can interact with, do things for, that are like the main thing for me. So those mods have so many, as you say, interesting NPCs that you can just walk into town and there's like the innkeeper who always repeats the same lines or has this dialogue with another innkeeper about the ale going bad. And then there's this guy who's just like, hey, can I be your follower? And then he has this whole life that you can discover, and his background, things he has to say when you walk into places with him. He comments on the icicle on that statue's nose hanging from there, and how it's like it's not like that's embarrassing. It's absolutely hilarious and amazing, and it makes you more immersed in the world when there's NPCs who feel like they should be there and they belong there,
Kind of like a couple
even
of
though they're pretty silly.
yeah, kind of like a couple of the named companions you can get in Starfield for like your outpost or your ship or something.
Mm.
God, what's that one girl's name? She's in the bar uh in New Atlantis. I have it written down here, I think. America, that's it. America, that dark-haired girl in the bar there. She's got like a whole like backstory and stuff, but you can also just like hire her as I think she's weapons or something. Like she's
Mm.
good for your ship's weapon system or something like that. But there's a couple of characters like that where they're actually like named crewmates, and they got like a
Yeah.
little bit of a backstory and stuff like that. I think that point in Starfield I really liked because, as you said with the interesting NPCs mods, it feels like just like that, like it's an NPC, but like they have a name, they have a backstory. They're some of them might be able to, you might be able to make them into companions, but the fact whether or not they're actually able to follow you on adventures doesn't really matter. The point is that they just seem like real people in this simulation that you're experiencing.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and I think that's really cool. So we are in agreement there. That
Mhm.
interesting NPCs mods for Skyrim, Fallout, and I would imagine there's going to be one for Fallout, for Starfield down the line.
Mm.
Uh,
No.
no, you
Chris
don't.
Takahashi works for Bethesda now. They
Oh,
hired
does
him.
he? Oh, well,
His name is in the Starfield credits.
oh, he's probably the one that made them then, like America and
It could
stuff.
be. It could be.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody will step up and fill his shoes
Mhm.
in the modding sphere, as it were. Um,
Yeah, he's so talented. He's so incredible with his writing. It's so wild.
yeah, he's left some big shoes behind.
Yeah, for sure.
um, on that though, that's actually a pretty good segment into my next question here. Um, I don't know if you saw it or not, but when was it? It was near the end of near the end of 2022, December 2022, if I remember correctly. The
Mm.
YouTuber Juicehead, who's also a major Bethesda content creator, um,
Yeah,
he covers a couple of other things. Like he's done a bunch of stuff for Cyberpunk and stuff like that. But
yeah,
he's primarily like a news guy. He put out a video talking about the potential for a Bethesda mod marketplace, kind of similar to the Minecraft marketplace, where
yeah,
you can effectively pay real world dollars for um, like different mods, very similar to
yeah,
the Creation Club. But if I understand correctly, the Creation Club is more so like because you might be able to clarify some of these details because you
yeah,
have actually made stuff for the Creation Club. The Creation Club is Bethesda hiring specific modders to make specific kinds of mods, and then the difference with this Bethesda mod marketplace is it would literally just be the modders create their mods and then can put them up on the marketplace and sell them for a specific amount of money depending on probably Bethesda. But what are your thoughts on that sort of concept? Obviously, so far anyway, nothing like that has come out, and nothing like that has been like hinted at or anything. It's just sort of been like something that's been talked about as like a hypothetical. But in that hypothetical, what are your thoughts on that? Like a Bethesda marketplace where modders can make mods and then host them on this platform and sell them for a specific amount of money. So, for example, Sim Settlements 2, like the entirety of Sim Settlements 2, Chapter 1, 2, and 3, let's say that sells
mm.
for like $30 or whatever. Like that whole concept, like what are your thoughts on that as a modder?
So we don't have any information on those yet. um, The Creation Club, we don't call them mods. They are official content for the game. Sort of like mini DLC. They're called creations. They're not mods because they go through the internal build process. They are curated by Bethesda, so it goes through the whole shebang. They process the assets. It goes through vicious QA. They are just so good. The QA Nexus doing the Creation Club stuff, they are phenomenal. They find the weirdest stuff, and they're ferocious. Anyway, so that's a whole different thing. Like, they are officially built and created by Bethesda.
So kind of like they're basically canon in a sense, like canon light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canon light. So it's you pitch a project, you're like, I could do this kind of a house, and they're like, yeah, do the house, we'll pay you, and that's it. And then you put out the house after it's done, and they process it, and they do the QA and localization and that sort of thing. So it's a huge project to get one simple creation out. It's like a mini DLC. Whereas I don't know. I haven't seen this marketplace video, to be honest. I don't look at leaks or rumors or that sort of thing. I'm sort of highly cautious with that, because when there's leaks or rumors, you're going to build up expectations for something that's not going to be there. And then you're going to get a lot of angry, disappointed people when it's either not what they expected and wanted it to be, or it doesn't come out at all. Like, you are craving that power armor skin for Fallout 76 for 3 years, and they don't even put it out. But you saw it in a data mine, so you expected them to do that. That sort of thing. You just end up with disappointment and angry fans. So I don't look at them. But the ideal situation is if I compare Creation Club to Steam Workshop. What's the paid mods?
I believe it's the Steam Workshop.
That was like a kind of a free for all. Like, everyone could put stuff out, and they could price their things any way they wanted. So that ended up with a lot of people who are just taking old mods and posting them now up for sale, or upgraded mods. I don't think anything that was previously free should be put up for sale now. I don't think little things. I don't think your load order should cost you $1,000. So I understand that Sim Settlements is a fuck ton of work, but I don't think it. That's the one mod that I could pay like more for, I guess. But if you're making just little things, I don't think they should cost like $10 for an armor.
Oh no, yeah, obviously. I think there would definitely have to be some sort of like internal like review thing that Bethesda has to do, because one of the things that I can't remember if he talked about it in the video, but it seems like one of the again, because as you said, this is all kind of like speculation based on, I think, like one thing that at this point is like a year and a half old, and nothing has been talked about it since. But I think the idea would be that it would make it easier for mods to be more accessible on like Xbox specifically.
Yeah.
I guess Fallout 4 specifically is also on PlayStation, so it could be released there, but it would make those mods more accessible, like mods that are built on PC. It could potentially make them more accessible to console players as well. That's probably where the price tag thing comes in, because as you said, something like if it's free on PC, like who's gonna pay for it? But then you have to consider like the console side of it. They can't get those mods on their console, so Bethesda is going to do what any company is going to do, and they're going to take that and they're going to, sell it and market it to like Xbox or PlayStation players, whatever platforms it's available for, and market it that way. Obviously, as you said, not everything should go through, and not everything is going to go through. But like conceptually, it's an interesting thing to think about.
For me, it's like a big thing in one of these mod shops should be curation. If you just let everyone in and everyone can post whatever, you're gonna end up with like a ton of mod theft, copyrighted assets. People are gonna take soundtracks from other games and put them up. I already see it with like Starfield modding, where we don't have concrete rules for that. Especially if you're trying to make money off of someone else's content, I think it's extremely shady and should be like heavily moderated. So it would need to be a system where Bethesda checks it and they approve it. It has to go through some sort of an internal process that anyone can't just put up any shit and charge $50 for an apple that gets placed on a table in what's the giant I can't believe I forgot the first inn in Riverwood for Skyrim.
Oh gosh.
I can't believe I forgot the name.
Yeah,
I'm blanking out here.
I know the one you're talking about. It's the one with the guy and everybody puts the basket on his head and then just steals all his shit. Yeah. That one
is there anyway.
Yeah.
There was in the Steam Workshop, the paid mods. The first time he came out, there was a mod that placed an apple in the game, and the creator was asking for like $90 or something. So if it's like Wild West of modding like that, then it's not gonna work. But if it's curated and regulated in some way, and there's like you can only charge this or that amount of it, no one's load order should cost them $1,000.
Yeah.
It's obscene. Like it should be some sort of a quality check, and like you can't charge $30 for an armor set. But I don't know, like armor sets cost $7-10 in Fallout 76.
Yeah, but it could be a case of like I don't know, maybe Bethesda is kind of trial running like what a paid marketplace would look like with Fallout 76. But like as far as I know, a lot of the stuff in Fallout 76 is like from what I'm remembering anyway, like new assets are semi-frequent but not incredibly frequent. A lot of the times it's like skins, which are usually like $2 to $5 or something like that, depending on the skin.
Yeah, my only grudge with the Fallout 76 Atomic shop is that they're quite pricey. Like considering the volume of how much they must be selling all those skins, I don't think a outfit that got converted from Fallout 4, like let's say Voltec Rep sales outfit, should be $8 because it's like 800 atoms or something. It should be $150. So it's like you spend $1 on a thing that already exists in the game. You just enable it and made it playable. But at the same time, if there's like a big shelter, that clearly took a lot of development time, because I see it a little differently because I've seen how much development time. There's localizations. There's like 8 languages. You have to like there's a button that you press in a shelter. You have to translate that to like 12 languages or something. So in the files, I see where $15 for a shelter comes from, but I don't see where 800 atoms, $8 for an armor set come from. Especially when it's a lot of the stuff in the item shop is really good quality, but still, I think for a giant company, they're a little bit overpriced. A lot of them. So
a lot of them do.
I would, if there was a great armor, I would gladly pay $3 for it. If there was a great house mod, I would. That's impossible because I would be too picky. But great house, $7. Let's say I'm gonna be using this house for this fills all my demands and needs. I'm gonna use this for 5 playthroughs. I can pay, or if it's an amazing display museum for every item in the game. Like let's say, what's the Legacy of Dragonborn?
Oh,
easy $10 because it's an amazing amount of work. So I understand that. A basic house mod, $3 to $7, is that too much? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay. If I was selling houses, I would price them at like $2 or $3. They're a lot of work, but they don't add enough to the game to warrant that price tag. Sim settlements, $30, I can see it literally adds a new gameplay feature and changes the game in ways beyond anything that a little add-on mod for like a house or a armor does. So I can see the big price tag and the enormous amount of work that is. But for houses, I don't see them being valuable enough to be charged $10, $15 for.
Yeah. It would definitely have to be something that, as you said, it has heavy curation and heavy
Yeah,
moderation to actually get
absolutely.
through, and it would definitely lead to a lot of mods like some of the ones that we already talked about, like the killing children mods, or the unrealistically shaped women mods. Obviously, those wouldn't get in there. But then there'd start be
Yeah,
like lines like, oh, what about the CCB mods? The beautiful body mods.
yeah.
Like it, where a lot of questions start getting raised.
Mm.
But that's you know as you said, Bethesda's a big company. That's, if they're gonna do something like that, that's the onus is on them to figure it out.
Yeah.
But you specifically, as I mentioned earlier, I was talking about that Polygon article that mentioned the cheese house that you made. But it was also specifically talking about the work that you did for Starfield. Um, Boy, I hope that motorcycle isn't getting picked up in my microphone there.
I
Cool.
didn't hear anything.
Okay, cool. Anyway, as I said, Starfield isn't the first major game that you worked on. You also worked for I can't remember off the top of my head. You either worked for or had your own development studio for a while. I can't remember if it was like an indie development studio that you got hired onto or one that you started.
Yeah.
But you were like working on like a new game that was in development for a while. Can you
Yeah.
tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so it was an indie studio founded here in my hometown. I got asked on board very early. They would just like the company had been started, and I helped get the game development started. So I was one of the co-founders.
And what
And
studio? What studio was that?
Forbidden Studios, Forbidden Studios.
Mhm.
Uh, we were working on Among the Trolls for I think it was in development since 2020 to 2023. It completely changed in the middle of production. So it was going to be a single player adventure survival game,
Mhm.
heavily influenced by Finnish and Nordic folklore. We had a lot of cool creatures, but the publisher um, suggested that we make it into a co-op. So pretty much we had to start from scratch again to make it a
Yeah.
co-op, and that took a lot of like wasted development time. And then at the end of 2022, right before Christmas, the project got put on hold indefinitely, and everyone had to be let go. So that was dramatic.
Mm.
It was it it was really it was really bad. I haven't still recovered from that because we were so heavily invested in the project. It was going to be so cool.
Yeah.
I think it went wrong in when we had to start trying to make it into a co-op. It would have worked better as a single player game. The story meant to be a single player story, so that sort of never worked for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it like that sort of shift specifically might have come just a little bit too early, because if from what I'm remembering of some of the stuff that you put out and some of the stuff that you talked about that project, it kind of specifically now that you mentioned like it was shifted to be a co-op game. It kind of sounded like if it had come out or like started development after uh, oh shit, Valheim.
Yeah.
If it had come out after that, there probably would have been a little bit more faith in the project, because if I remember correctly, Valheim is a co-op game. And
Yeah,
it
it is. I
yeah,
think it's a four-player co-op.
okay, yeah, and it has a lot of similar aspects.
Yeah.
It's based on Norse and Finnish mythology, maybe more so Norse mythology. But
Yeah.
like that same basic region of the world, and based off a same core, identity and folklore and stuff like that. And it seems as if Valheim had come out first, that project probably would have gotten a little bit more, wind in the sails to keep it going all the way to the end. But at least from a lot of the screenshots that I saw, much higher environmental quality and detailing. It was a very pretty looking game from what I saw.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a ultra realistic. We started off with like really really high resolution textures, and it was supposed to be ultra realistic, really detailed, very different in our art style from No Man's Sky or Valheim.
Interesting, very cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I wonder if the project will ever pick up, because it is such a cool concept.
Is there anything you can tell us about like the story, or is that still all hush hush because the project's still, I guess, technically under development, but it's suspended for now?
Yeah, it's like we don't know. None of us who worked there, like just workers, know what's gonna happen. It was the player character would discover their shamanic heritage. Their grandfather was a shaman in Finland, and they come and discover that the grandparents are gone. Something's happened. They start hearing this, like feeling this calling to go back to their grandparents' place, and then you discover that the forest is alive. There's like so many creatures, different kinds of, each like environment has its own protector, guardian sort of thing that you have to deal with. In a way, if you deal with them like in a hostile way, the forest is out to get you.
Yeah.
And you have to keep the forest happy. We had lots of cool creatures in that, and then you just go on this journey to like discover your powers and what you can do, and to figure out how to live in a respectable harmony with the environment. It was also a little bit of a wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yeah.
Because among the trolls means to be gone, to be lost, to be away from the world of humans, to be somewhere. So that was a little bit in the story as well.
A little bit of a environmentalism message in the writing, it sounds like.
Yeah, a little bit. It was definitely like you lose your phone, you lose your modern backpack when you fall into the lake, and you lose all your stuff, and then you end up in a grandparents' cabin who would live very, what's the word, modestly in the woods, with no modern compass or anything like that. So you'd have to pick up from that, and it was a survival game, so you would craft things, you would harvest things, but if you harvest too much, you're not respecting the forest, so you have to pay respects and offer something in return for taking all these mushrooms from the woods. It was very cool. We were figuring out the survival mechanism and a gameplay loop, and it was all coming together, but
yeah,
sadly,
that sounds like a really cool game. In from what I'm remembering in recent years, there's been a lot of games that have a very strong environmental message. Like, I can't remember the name of it, but there was this one game that I saw that was like, everything's like a wasteland and stuff, and it's like a city builder, but you're not building a city, you're building an environment, so you have to like repopulate different areas of the wasteland with like different seeds, make sure there's water and stuff, so that a variety of like trees grow, and then introduce like wildlife into it. So there's got to be like prey, predator, scavengers, stuff like that. It was very interesting, because it was like I think it was described as like a reverse city builder. You know, kind of like if you started off in like the environment of Fallout 4, and then just like, all right, we're gonna build trees there, we're gonna get fresh water there, we're going to put some beavers over there. It's going to be fantastic.
The Eden Project.
Right, yeah. But yeah, that's very cool. I like games like that. That
I hope it sees the light of day someday.
I do too, because just based on what you described the story as, and a little bit of the gameplay, and thinking back on a lot of the visuals that I've seen from that game, it seems like it would have been really cool. But thankfully, that wasn't the only big project that you got to work on. because I don't know if anybody knows this. You were actually the person that invented Starfield. Todd Howard's just a shill trying to take all the credit from you. You are the one that did all the lighting and all the clutter in Starfield.
Literally all of the lighting and every piece of clutter is apparently placed by me.
Every single thing. You see the sun? Guess who put it there? Elianora put the sun there. So yeah, in all seriousness, you did get a chance to work on Starfield a bit. What was, like, obviously what you can actually talk about? What was all that like? What were you assigned to do, and how did it feel to work for Bethesda?
So I had experience of that a little bit before because I was on a creation club as a full-time contractor where I would like help other people's projects and to do some like final checks on environments and dungeons and help detail other creations. I worked on other things than my own things that got put out. So I had the connection through there, and then they needed more hands on deck for Starfield, and they brought me on to that since I was already like sort of in the loop. But it was a whole different thing because it was like a full-time video game production, and there was like so many staggering amount of people involved in that. Unlike the little teams that I worked with on Creation Club, it was incredible. Everyone there is so nice. They are so passionate. They are so involved. Like the biggest pet peeve I have when people are like, "Oh, Bethesda is so lazy. The developers are so lazy, and they're making modders do all their work." Like, are you a fucking idiot? Do you even know how hard the devs work? Do you even know how inspired they are and how much they care? You have no idea. Everyone there cares deeply. If it's one thing they don't want to do is to put out shit, and the choices you see that the developers are made. Could it be that they know better than you? Like people are complaining about some things. Like maybe these people, they make this stuff for a living. They get paid to do it. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years, some of them. Maybe they just know better. Yeah. And this is what they wanted to make for their game. It's their vision, their creation. Yeah. Not yours. Because you expected something. You dreamed up something that you wanted for this game.
Yeah, because
and you're not allowed to be like that disappointed.
Because obviously, like Bethesda's not out here trying to put out games that have like all these bugs and stuff. But when you're dealing with it, this is something that I've seen a lot of people maybe sort of not fully appreciate or not fully realize when talking about like Bethesda games, especially since Starfield came out and everybody's comparing it to like No Man's Sky, and like then people are comparing it to like PlayStation exclusive games like Spider-Man or Horizon Zero Dawn, like Spider-Man or Horizon, for example. Like, yes, they're very well made, very good looking mods, but what you can actually do in the games are pretty limited, and like, you can still do a lot in those games, but you can't do as much as you can do in like a Bethesda game. Like Bethesda is really good at making big games that you can do a lot of stuff in, and when you're accounting, like, you can't account for everything that's going to go wrong when you basically give the player near infinite possibility, near infinite options. So it's like, are there going to be bugs? Yeah, but Do you not like the main quest? Change it. You can take the creation kit and you can change it. You don't like a specific thing in it, you can just jump in and change it. It's the thing you get when you have this open engine and you have the tools and the freedom to do whatever you want in the engine and in the game and to the game and add anything. You can't do that with a lot of other games that you can get mods for. Yeah. And so that's what you get. And all games have bugs. I don't know why we just treat Bethesda games that much differently. It's because I've been playing new games in recent years, and they've all had bugs.
weird stuff.
It's because Bethesda has the funniest bugs.
Yeah, I haven't seen that many things in Starfield. Mostly, sometimes I saw like NPCs floating inside ceilings,
Yeah, like
but that's the only thing.
there's still bugs in Starfield, but they're very minor bugs from
It
what I've
doesn't
seen
feel
at least.
unpolished at all. Like there are other games, like I felt like Redfall was a really good game, but
Mhm.
it felt really unpolished. It felt like it could have used another 6 months of
Yeah,
development time.
yeah,
Um, but I did two playthroughs, so I like got my money's worth, so
yeah.
it's fine.
There you go.
But yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
so I saw the whole development process inside, uh, attempted meetings, that sort of thing. So that was a huge change from the Creation Club.
Mhm. And so what specific
Um,
what we kind of got off the rails a
yeah,
little
that
bit there. Like what
yeah.
specifically did you do when you were working on Starfield?
So I did some lighting setups, and the lighting is a lot more complicated this time around. There's a lot more elements, building blocks to it, um, and in some areas, I'm not gonna say any specific
Mhm.
places that I worked on. And then needed some people on the like interiors team where I would I would build small interiors and decorate them, do all the set dressing, all the lighting. It started off as me just doing lighting for these places, but then I got like, "Hey, what, you understand clutter? Well, can you do these?" And then I did those for the rest of my contract. This was right before. This was when they hadn't announced the delay yet,
Mhm.
so shit was on fire a
Mhm.
little bit. Like everyone was getting it ready for the original launch date, so there was a lot of stuff that needed to be finished. So I got bounced into the team that I could bring the most into, because lighting was kind of slow for me. I wasn't as great as it
Mhm.
at it as I am with like like interiors, building, decorating, creating spaces. So that's where my strength was, and where I got moved after a while.
Makes sense. That's where
And
your
no,
area. That's
I
where your.
didn't make any of the coffee cups. No, the coffee cups were already there when I joined the game. The only thing that I saw got finished while I was working was the big espresso machine.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember when that was posted in the team chat, and I was like, "Ah, that's so good. I'm gonna
yeah.
add that everywhere." And so
Was
I did.
was there like what's uh maybe you can't answer it because you just said that you couldn't really go into any specifics. But like, what was your like favorite area to like add clutter to, if you can say that?
I love cluttering up the spaceships. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be one of the first mods I do when we get the some sort of tools that I can edit the environments with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make all the clutter in the spaceship static, so that when you change habs for your ship,
Mm-hmm.
the clutter won't disappear. It's always gonna be there.
Nice.
That's probably what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
And
because
then the player homes need a clutter touch too.
yeah, because that was something I noticed like almost right away when I first started seeing a lot of the interiors in like the spaceships. I thought like wow, like actual like in-game stuff, like a lot closer to the the actual release date. I remember thinking like wow, these like the interiors are really full. Like there's a lot of stuff inside these actual specific habs. Um, and yeah, I still think the interior section of like before you actually get into the cockpit and stuff, the interior section of the oh god, what's the name of the ship you get from Barrett in Starfield?
Frontier.
Yeah, the Frontier. That's I knew it was something like that.
Mhm.
The like the interior habitat there with like the table, the sleeping area, all the stuff like around it and everything. It's just so like like warm and like lived in and very
Yeah.
comfortable. It feels very comfortable.
Yeah, all the interiors in this game are just phenomenal. There's so much cool stuff. It's incredible how, and maybe I see it in a little bit different eyes, but all the lighting and everything, like the details are just, of course, I see it a bit differently, but
Yeah.
just phenomenal Fallout 4 already had incredible interiors. They look so good, but Starfield took it to a whole other level.
It's very nice. It's they Bethesda just seems to keep elevating on, like, they have a very specific formula, and they just seem to keep refining that formula over and over and
Yeah.
over with each game. On that though, Bethesda isn't the only side of our little gaming coin here that seems to keep improving, because the modding community also seems to keep improving. We talked a lot
Unreal.
about we talked a lot about Sim Settlements 2, for example, which to me is probably like the best mod that we've seen come out of. Well, I'm gonna take that back. It's one of the best Fallout mods that we've seen put out in recent years. I was going to say the best mod in general, but I remembered the oh god, what's that? What was the name of that Skyrim mod that eventually became like its own game? The Forgotten City. Was it also the Forgotten
Yeah.
City? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I played the Steam version of the Forgotten City, not the Skyrim version, but the actual like standalone independent one. And if the writing in that game was even like half as good as it was in the Skyrim mod, oh boy, because like that was a really well done game, and I can imagine that the actual mod itself would be just like phenomenal, like a standout in the Skyrim modding community. But in that concept, mods have just gotten like better and better and better as time goes on. We see it with bigger projects like Sim Settlements 2, the Forgotten City, a lot of the clothing and design mods. We talked a little bit about some of the mods that like the more risque, like not appropriate for school mods, like not safe for work mods. Even those like are, like the detail on them is just starting to get like wild, like the outfits and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Incredibly well made. Of like the recent projects, how do you see like the bar being like raised? Like what maybe in like your opinion, like what mods have like raised the bar as far as like the standards of the modding community? Like how have we gotten better? Like which projects have elevated the community?
There are like Skyrim itself is living its like golden age of modding right now, with like there's so many animation mods coming out, like the whole system where it makes Skyrim play a little bit more like Souls games and stuff like that. It's just incredible. There's so many like script extender based mods that completely change things. The UIs have become incredible in the way they can be overhauled. I can't remember any names from the top of my head right now. And then like incredibly detailed, high quality, high resolution armors have come out. Like there is so much stuff for Skyrim now. Fallout 4 is lagging a little bit behind it. It's different people who make the stuff. But Fallout 4 also has like transfer settlement blueprints. We got sim settlements. There are some like major gameplay overhauls for Fallout 2, and it's just phenomenal. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear him back in the background when I'm talking, but
Like a little bit, but it's not too bad. I was also going to say that Fallout is also has a lot. I guess technically Skyrim, the Skyrim modding, I guess the Elder Scrolls modding community also has that, because the Elder Scrolls modding community has Skyblivion that I think is coming out next year. And then the Fallout community has. There's well, obviously there's a bunch of mods that are being worked on right now for Fallout New Vegas. But then there's also like I think one of them is like a remake of Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, I can't remember, but there's
really,
there's like I think 3 different mod projects to remake Fallout 2 specifically. One I think is in New Vegas's engine, and the other is in Fallout 4's engine. It could be Fallout 1. I can't remember specifically, but like people are trying to bring back the older games. But then they're also making brand new stuff like Sim Settlements 3, like Fallout London, Cascadia, Empire Wastes. Like there's just a bunch of mod projects. And specifically the Capital Wasteland project, which is remaking Fallout 3 and Fallout 4's mods. So like they're both, like I said, the bar is just being raised higher and higher and higher, and both are kind of going through this like big, massive, major development where they're just constantly putting out new stuff. It sounds like what you're saying though is Skyrim is more consistent in putting out new stuff like almost every day or every week.
Yeah, it is. And for Fallout 4, I'll get excited about these projects when they're out. Like I know how gigantic they are and how much work there is. So I've stayed away from them because I want to work on things that come out in the next 7 months, not in the next 7 years.
Yeah.
But for both Fallout and Skyrim have stuff like that completely changed the way the modding works. There's the Robco patcher for there's a similar thing for Skyrim maybe, like the Robco patcher is groundbreaking. Then there's sim settlements, there are all kinds of equipment and crafting overhauls, there's incredible stuff like that. There's like the favorites menu EX. I'm looking at the most popular mods and those mods in the past year for Fallout 4, and there's just some absolutely mind-blowing stuff. And similar stuff is done for Skyrim as well. Yeah, it's completely... I don't understand how they can do this to a 10, 15-year-old game engine. It's just insane.
I know, right? It like it constantly blows me away how creative and how dedicated some of these people are. But then like I just thought, or maybe not thought, but I was having a conversation with somebody and we got into a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it like hit me like a bag of rocks. Like this month, September 15th, Grand Theft Auto 5 is officially 10 years old, which is just like that's mind-blowing to me. And the game is still as popular as it's ever been, and like
so wild.
Right, like there's still new stuff coming out for the game, and it's like that stuff by Rockstar and Bethesda, like they're still doing that. Skyrim has been out for over a decade at this point, like 12 years. New Vegas as well, Fallout 3, like and that's just like stuff since like Fallout 3. There's also like Morrowind and Oblivion and stuff. Like people are still modding for that, and it's like these people are like, and I mean, like modders are just like on a next level. It's truly amazing.
A lot of it is because some of these people who made mods for Fallout 4 and now Starfield have been there for so long. The modding community is it still has the same people. We've been doing this for 10 years. There's been so many cool tools released, so many best practices have been discovered. There's so many people making tutorials. There's just so many like
resources.
People, there's so many resources. There's so many people who are like essential pillars in the community who are still there. Like the guy who works on Nifscope is now doing Nifscope for Starfield. The script extender team is here already working. We had Starfield script extender for like on day 3 since the game came out or something. It's the people who've been making all these like incredible upgrades to Skyrim and Fallout 4 in the past years are now on Starfield. So stuff that took 7 years to come out for Skyrim is now coming out in 7 days. Starfield, because the community knows how to do this stuff. All these things have been maturing for the past 10 years, and now people know how to do it. They know how stuff works. All these new NG things have been discovered, and people can do it in days instead of years. And that's one of the big reasons that the modding community has grown together for the past 10 years, and the people are still here. New people are coming in, and they are met with veterans who know this stuff and share this stuff and make tutorials and do wiki pages, and it's incredible. It's so easy to jump on board because the groundwork is there.
And it helps that Bethesda has constantly made their stuff better and easier to work with. One of the past guests that I had on the show, Ropoket, Ropey quit. I just call him Ropey. I don't know how to say his full name properly. But he's the same thing. He started out as a modder. He was making I think he's still working on a mod for Fallout Coos Bay, which takes place in Coos Bay, Oregon, here on the west coast of the United States. And he is he's a member of, but he works, he was one of those modders that got hired for Bethesda, and he was in the same boat. He's a modder, and he got really good at his craft. And then there's this a divergence. You either become a modder, you become one of these veteran modders, right? Who just continuously offers better experience for the modding community, or you become a Fallout dev, or you become both. And one of the things that he said was because I think he did some modding for Fallout 3 or New Vegas, I can't remember, but specifically he said that when he jumped over to modding for Fallout 4, it was so much easier to use. You could place down tiles of landscape now, and you could what was it, buildings, you didn't have to build the entire building. There was levels that you could put in or something like that. And he said that it was just so much easier to mod for Fallout 4 compared to 3 or New Vegas or something.
Yeah.
And I just think that I can't wait for 5-10 years from now, when Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 and Starfield 2 have come out and stuff like that. Just it's literally it's gonna be paint, especially with advances in technology and stuff like AI and generated landscapes and buildings and stuff like that. Is going to be so what oh god, what was that game maker back in 2012 that everybody was making just all these pixel sprite horror games and stuff in?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. There's probably some name or some video playing that shows it right now. But yeah, I remember that came out, and it was easier to use because it was a lot simpler technology, but everybody just started pumping out all these games and stuff for it. Or a lot of the Unreal tools that they have now, right? It's super easy to make stuff in Unreal. And it seems like we're going to get to the point in 5-10 years or something like that, where it's just going to be so incredibly easy to make mod stuff for games that we're just going to be seeing. We're not going to be seeing just small mods, oh, here's a new outfit or a new weapon or a new location or stuff like that. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of mega mods, like Fallout, Sim Settlements 2, Fallout London, stuff like that, every month, every year, something like that. They're going to come out at such blazing speed. It's going to be getting a new DLC or almost a new game every month. And it's going to be wild. It's going to be it's so exciting.
Sounds kind of scary.
A little bit, yeah. Because there are also some mods where it's I don't know about that, Chief. The Frontier, for example.
There's a problem where how do you stand out in all that? If you're looking at Starfield modding now, there's hundreds of mods coming out every week, but are they all good mods?
Yeah.
Like half of them are console commands or like bat files
Hmm.
that just run. So if if there's going to be so much, how do you find good mods in that all that fluff, like the things you actually want to install? Because all those console commands and bat files are going to be forgotten
Hmm.
once the creation kit comes out, and uh, Starfield extender mods, script extender mods are already making some of these console commands.
Well, how about
Like redundant.
how about we do this as somebody with you, yeah, because you pre-ordered Starfield. So somebody with over a decade of modding experience, a veteran as yourself, what sort of advice would you give to new modders, so that they can stand out like that? You know, because as you said, um, it if or as technology continues to advance and as Bethesda continues to offer, more and more advanced ways to mod their games, the onus kind of falls on the person modding to be able to be creative enough or intuitive enough or industrious enough to make something that's going to stand out. But obviously, that's a learned skill. So, what would you, as a veteran modder, what sort of advice would you offer to newer people, new modders, new players, to create something that will stand out?
Um, you can do what I did and just put out so much stuff that people can't ignore you. Or I would say make those connections. Be it's a lot like in the job market. You have to have the right connections. You have to have uh, a presence. Like one of the main reasons I'm so well known is because I'm on Twitter and I stream and I have a big Discord server. So I suggest not starting your own Discord server because every modder now has a Discord server, and I'm not going to go on 500 different Discord servers. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. There is a Starfield modding Discord. You can be active there, make those connections, get to know those people, um, present your work well. Like maybe post on the forums that you're working on it, get people hyped for it already before you put it out, and present it well. It's You have to be incredibly lucky if you present your mod badly to get noticed. Some of these files that you just put out a file and you get lucky because you posted it at the right time or you're doing something that no one else yet did. And now is a good time to get like to make a good mod that people need for Starfield if it's just like console commands or bat files or something. But present it well, make those connections, get people excited. I know it's if you want to be well known, it takes a little bit more effort, and it's going to take more than just one mod. Your first mod is probably, if it's unless it's totally groundbreaking and something never seen before, then it's gonna take a few more mods to get established in the community. If your first mod doesn't get super popular, you shouldn't get discouraged. My first house mod is absolutely horrible. I've taken it down from Nexus. I've taken down all my first mods. None of my earliest work is even in Nexus anymore. I don't like them, so sometimes it's going to take a while unless you get really lucky and suddenly somehow your mod goes viral.
How long do
It's
you
a good
think?
idea to make YouTube content, TikTok, that sort of thing. But that comes down to, do you want to be popular or do you just want to make a really good mod that people need? Because if you don't care about all the fame and fortune, then just put out the mod that you want and present it well. And if it's good, people are going to find it. People are going to lift you up if it's something that the community craves.
How long do you think it's gonna? How long do you think it's gonna take for the more pronouns mod to come out for Starfield?
Um, I would say if the creation, Todd said they are thinking of bringing the mod tools next year, sometime in the spring, I think. So after that, when it comes out, a few months,
You think it's
because it
gonna
takes a long time.
a few months for a more pronouns mod?
Pronounced or pronouns? Do you mean
Pronouns.
pronouns.
Like he, her, she. Them. I was making a stupid joke.
Oh,
Because that's the whole issue
I
with
think
Starfield.
I think they're gonna get tired of it fairly quickly because it's not going anywhere. It's
God, I
already
hope
dying
so.
down. The whole it's so stupid.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
I think people are gonna still try every day for the next couple of weeks, and then it's gonna die down.
right.
So the creation kit for Starfield is coming out probably some time in the early year next year, and then it's gonna take, depending on what it is, it's gonna take people a few weeks to a few months to make really big stuff, depending on how much time they have to put out in their projects. A lot of people are already making plans. They're designing their overhauls and such things that they have like the groundwork laid down when the creation kit hits. And a lot of mods will start coming out when we have the X edit. So you can actually create and edit ESPs. That's going to be a huge thing. I don't know how long it's going to take from the X edit team. I haven't been following because a big problem with the discords for different modders is that all this discussion is no longer in Nexus forums. It's in a huge modding discord, and every mod author or tool creator has their own discord, so you'd have to be part of every one of those and follow that. So I don't know where projects are at the moment.
That's true. What's like when you can actually get in with the tools and stuff to Starfield? Because obviously you said that like cluttering up the ships and stuff in Starfield is going to be like one of your big projects. But like, do you have any other like ideas or projects planned for Starfield that you're at this point just like mapping out?
So yeah, I have some. I'm gonna do some player housing. I'm gonna do some spaceship like habs. So people have more options to decorate their ship interiors if they want to actually live in their ships. Do something with the storage, and also add more stuff to the outpost building, because right now, if you want to do like storage in outposts, you have option of these yellow crates or a black crate, and that's about it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm building a house, not an outpost on a distant moon.
Yeah.
So I want dressers. This is where I store my armors. This is where I store my ammo. This is where I store my food. I don't want a blue cooler. I want an actual functional fridge. Well, not functional, but that it looks like a fridge full of
Yeah.
stuff. So I want different storage options for the outpost building. So when I build my home in Aquila, I can actually have like a dresser and a wardrobe and a desk where I can store pens or whatever I want to store in the desk.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. What's a
Also, I need to fix the coffee.
What's it?
Fix the coffee.
Oh, yeah.
there is a in Paradiso. There is a coffee shop that is not Terra Brew, and they claim that they are growing coffee from the way it was done in Earth back in the day. Yeah. And then you go and buy coffee from that guy. I think it's called Lux Coffee or something, and he's selling you Terra Brew.
Oh.
I mean, this is not going to fly. You need better coffee.
Right.
I want to grow coffee in my outpost. Want to make different kinds of coffee drinks.
Look out for
Ellie's coffee mod for Starfield.
Right. I was just about to say, look out for Ellie's coffee mod in Starfield coming sometime in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You heard it here first, guys.
Right, there it is. That's what, two mods now. Ellie's coffee mod, and then what was it? The
player housing overhaul.
Yeah, well, okay, I guess 3. So that, and then the one we joked about at the beginning. What is it? Cheese house armor.
Yeah, grilled cheese house armor.
Yeah, in Starfield, the spacesuit.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be. I hope tools come out before April, so I can actually release that as an April Fool's mod.
Oh, that'd be so amazing.
All I need is Outfit Studio and X Edit. I don't even need a NIF scope. I don't even need the creation kit for that. Because my first armor mods were made for Fallout 4 before the official creation kit came out.
Right. That's going to be fantastic. 2024 is going to be a wild year.
It is. Everyone's going to jump on board. It's going to be great. We see so many people coming over. Power of 3, Studo, people who have been making incredible stuff for Skyrim are now modding for Starfield, so it's going to be the best time.
Are there any words of wisdom you wanna pass on to the audience here?
Be excellent to each other. Like, don't be a hateful shit. Be nice. We all want to enjoy these games. Enjoy the games the way you want them to enjoy, but make it in a way that you're not discriminating anyone or you're not hurting anyone's feelings. No kink shaming, nothing of that sort. Let people, we all love these games. We all want to enjoy these games. The community is amazing. Let's keep it that way.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Elianora, one of the most well-known and celebrated Skyrim and Fallout 4 modders on the Nexus Mod website. As always, if you enjoyed this episode of the Atomcast, the best way you can show your support is by subscribing to our Patreon, as your monthly contributions will go towards improving the quality of transmission, as well as helping to decrease the time between uploads. Until next time, I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all out there in the wasteland.